Hi, I'm Jimmy Palmiotti.
I'm Scott Snyder.
And we're here to talk about Gotham's past. Well, Arkham is really important to Gotham's past and present because obviously we have, well, in All-Star Western we have Amadeus Arkham running around, and we're seeing his start, the way he got interested in, well, criminals and with Jonah Hex sort of like being a good guy, bad guy. The combination of the two is really interesting, and of course it has everything to do with the asylum being built and actually what you cover.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things that's so much fun about reading All-Star for me is seeing not just the history of the characters that I'm using, but also getting ideas about them.
The great thing about doing it in two time periods is we can drop something in the past and Scott can pick it up in the future, and that's kind of like, it's just the cool thing about the books right now is that we're Scott actually can come to Justin and I and say, here's what buildings I need built in Gotham.
Yeah, and just seeing, like, for example, the train station, when we were talking about this yesterday, we were going back and forth about ideas we could use. And when you said about, Jimmy suggested maybe burying something and having me dig it up. Now I can't get it out of my head. I'm so excited about it. I'm like, what could it be? What could it be?
I think what you've done and what everybody's done in the past is Gotham is character. And all these characters work so much better because they're within this other character, and I think that's the cool thing. Jonah Hex is a guy that's not comfortable in cities whatsoever. He's a classic Western hero. He'd like to be alone on a mountaintop with nobody around to bother him and make a fire. And Gotham is a city that's so alive that he can get no peace in it, and it actually drives him crazy. It's an annoying thing to him that he has to be there, and as we write the series, we're seeing that he's getting in deeper and deeper and deeper, that the fact that it's getting harder and harder to leave. And it's, for us writing it, it makes it more fun because there's nothing like writing a character that feels trapped all the time.
I almost feel like it's as much as he hates it, as much as he wants to leave, it's also his contact with humanity as well, you know?
Right.
And as for the Waynes, I guess what the Waynes would think of Gotham in the 1880s is really, I mean, I've loved doing their story in the 1880s, and both in the flashbacks you get in Batman and in Gates of Gotham and stuff. And they're a family that I think, somewhat in some ways, I guess, even though they're much more invested civically in the city than someone like Jonah, they also they go through, I think, a kind of pattern of retreating from it and wanting to just keep the family safe, and then they go in there and try and make it a better place, and it always lashes back at them. Yeah. And so it's, as a city, one of the most fun things is how it challenges its heroes, and not in a way that's evil, but to make them sort of better by trial by fire.
We want to thank the fans that threw some questions at us on Twitter. First one is from the Mine Hut, which is kind of a cool name, the Mine Hut.
It sounds like a good villain.
Yeah, the Mine Hut. I like Mine Hut. You just lost your name.
And he asks, how do the owls relate to the religion of crime?
Well, how they relate is they're like organizations, and going for power, going for the same kind of power. So we're talking, if I had to put it into like my old neighborhood terms, it's like two mob groups trying to win over a city, trying to take and say, we want to do it our way, and the owls have their way, and the religion of crime Bible has another way. So they relate to each other in the fact that their goals are, at the end of the day, even though they think on some level they're doing good, they're actually doing it the wrong way.
Yeah, and when you did that, when we talked, because we talked about that, with Jimmy and Justin mentioned that idea, I was so enthralled with it because as big and scary as the owls are supposed to seem now, they've also had their conflicts, and they've sort of been taken down at different times as well too. So the idea that we could tell one of those secret stories, or that you had one in mind or anything, was just exciting.
Next is from
P.D. Brearley, and it says, are the Miyajani? Is that
Miyajani?
Miyajani.
Like we're in Olive Garden. Yeah, okay.
They're a pasta.
Yeah.
Still in the
Hey,
cave.
Miyajani. Yeah, go ahead.
Are they still in the cave in modern times? I hope not.
If it is, it kind of stinks.
Yes.
That cave.
Yeah, it would be pretty rough.
It would be. I'm guessing they're probably not. I'm guessing they figured out maybe it's time to move.
Yeah.
They might be in Long Island at this point.
Yes.
Somewhere out in Long Island.
There's definitely, the cave system is big, so you never know what you'll find down there. I feel like that's one of the fun things at work. We're going to explore that a little bit in Batman too, the idea that there's sub-levels and sub-levels, because in a lot of ways the cave, when I read that and I saw the giant bat and everything, I was so excited. I was like, because it feels like as much as Batman knows the city and knows the cave, it can always be something that surprises you in a really dark way.
Absolutely. Well, thanks everybody for listening us ramble on and on here at C2E2, talking about Gotham's past.
Exclusively here at DCComics.com.